Howdy, I'm known as Dimwit, the last mountain man. Now, let's talk about a couple of gentlemen called Daniel Moore and David Williamson. They owned Moore's Patent Firearms Company from 1860 to 1865. Then they changed the name to National Arms Company, and eventually it was bought by Colt in 1870. I think maybe the name change may have had something to do with a lawsuit from Smith & Wesson, because the Moore 7-shooter single-action belt revolver was an infringement on the roll and white patents held by Smith & Wesson. Those patents held the right for a bored-through cylinder loaded from the rear with metal cartridges. And of course, Smith & Wesson won the lawsuit. So a lot of interesting history here. They were kind of a pain in the ass for Smith & Wesson, and eventually they were sold to Colt. Let's have a closer look. And you can see there's cartridges there, so we're gonna try and shoot them. Let me zoom out and get in the picture here. Okay, so this is the number one. It's called, named the number one Deringer. And it kind of is, because this is the birthplace for the 41 rimfire cartridge that all of these Deringers use. See? And cock it like that. So half cock. There's this little knob here that you pull to the rear, and and it pivots like that. And it's got this little blade in here that gets underneath the rim and kind of pulls the cartridge out just a little bit, so it's easier to get the whole casings. And you just like that. That's kind of awkward to do on camera, but you get the idea. Oh. Not a very powerful cartridge, but they made a big hole, and they would make a hole in you. So that's the number one, and this is probably, I can't make out what it says on top here anymore. It's got a fairly deep patina, but it's nice chocolate colored. Front sight is missing. And it's got it's an iron frame, and most of them were probably brass frame that were nickeled. So it's kind of a rare gun, and I kind of like the patina. There's no deep corrosion. It's just well, it's deep corrosion, but there's no really. It's not like rust. It's fairly smooth. Got that lovely chocolate color that at least I like. And then the number two Deringer, pretty much the same thing except wooden grips. Half cock, twist it like that. But this time they did away with that blade that got underneath the rim to make it easier to to empty the gun. So guess they were cutting production costs even back then. Like that. Okay. And this is also national. It says on top here. It's easier to read. And both the number 1 and the number 2 continued in production when Colt bought the national factory. And Colt actually sold Deringers with the national name on it, because there was a lot of Deringers in stock when they bought them. And in their catalog, Colt gave you a choice between one that was marked a Colt or a national. And I think probably the national was a little bit cheaper. So could have been sold by Colt. And the last one, it's kind of a different construction. You put it in half cock and you push this little knob underneath here and you slide the barrel forwards so you can load it. And you push it back in, it snaps into place, and then you could bring it to full cock and fire it. This was marketed as the Williamson single shot Deringer, and but it was made by the National Arms factory. But at least Williamson got to have his name on one gun. So it says here, Williamson's patent, October 2nd, 1866, New York. And this one has got a lot of engraving. Really pretty gun. It's checkered. And there's more engraving. And there's owner's manual. Point. I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to explain how you slide the barrel forward. And these came with an extra piece that you put in here that could hold a percussion cap, and then you put that in there and you muzzle load it, I guess, and you could fire it. And you could tell down in here that there's room for a percussion cap. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see that. But anyway, this was in the early days of the cartridges, and several guns had this feature that you could shoot a cartridge, or you could use just a loose powder, round ball, and percussion cap. I have a rifle like that we're gonna do next. And now I have made some cartridges, and originally these were rimfire, but you can't buy them anymore. But now you can at least get these brass casings that are reloadable with, you use these 6mm blanks as a primer. And I showed you earlier, same type of cartridge in an early Lee rifle, and it's the same deal here. So we're gonna try and shoot it. I'm just gonna shoot the number 2. That's got a real nice tight action and a nice hard hammer blow. Those others have kind of weak mainsprings. I'm not sure if they'll set it off. I might work on that later on, but I think for now we'll just try and shoot that number 2 Derringer. So we'll bring it to half cock, pull that knob back, twist the barrel, and it's kind of hard to do these things on camera. I'm sorry. And I have to make sure that that 6mm blank is in the right position, so the firing pin hits it. Then close it, and then bring it to a full cock, and then well, gun is still intact. I still have all my fingers, and it worked pretty nice. So I think we'll try it again. Nice and dirty. That's quite a bit of muzzle flame for that little powder charge. I don't think there's more than 15 grains or something like that in here. But those blanks actually give it a little more punch, because they're pretty loud and powerful by themselves. So I wouldn't want to get in its way. And there's actually a book, I think 41 rimfire, the deadliest cartridge of the West or something. And there's something to be said about that, because they didn't have penicillin and those kinds of things in back in the day. You know, you get shot by one of these things, you get an infection, and probably take you a while to die, but you would. Let's try one more time. Just a perfect amount of recoil, and actually a lot more fun to shoot this thing than I figured it would be. You know, I always I kind of never cared that much for that little 41 rimfire cartridge, but now that I've tried it, I'm actually quite impressed. Of course, these things were made for self-defense. They were used by gamblers a lot, you know, so they weren't intended for shooting long range. So just across the poker table would do nicely, and maybe if somebody tried to mug you or something, you know, pull this out. So and I wouldn't want to get shot with one, so if somebody was pointing at me one of these, I'd be inclined to do as I was told. Now, this one, it's got a little bit of a weak mainspring, like I said, but now that I'm doing this, I'm kind of curious to try. So here goes. Ah, no problem. You probably saw that gun jump in my hand a little bit there, and there's not much to hold on to here. This metal handle, it's kind of small, so I guess we established that changing the changes between the number 1 and number 2 was for the better. We'll open it up and have a look at that primer. And just like I suspected, that mainspring is a little weaker, but it's enough to set it off. Will it do it again? We'll find out. And it didn't. So we got kind of a borderline situation going on here. Yep. But it works. I keep forgetting I'm trying to do this in cameras. I'm all over the place, and this being such a small gun, I kind of have to try and keep it a little close. And see that blade that gets underneath that. Actually, it's got a hard time getting underneath that rim. Oh, I think maybe that was the firing pin that was catching, but you see now. No, there you go. And that blade gets underneath that rim and makes it easier for you to grab. Now, the rim on this thing is made on a lathe, and it's very square. And on an original rimfire, this would be more rounded. So I think that blade would work a lot better on an original rimfire cartridge than these modern reloadable ones. So, but it works. Now, will this one work? I might get it to work if I kind of hang on to the hammer, pull the trigger, and then let go of the hammer, because then that will give me a little bit of a longer. Oh, maybe not. We'll try, but I'm not real optimistic. Put it in half cock, push the latch in, open it, make sure we got the cartridge in the right position, close, full cock. No, that's just too weak. There we go. Gun held up well. Like that. And for this thing, I think you need to have a pencil or something. Actually, I have a pen here. To push out the casing. Now that it's dirty and I gotta clean the damn thing, we might as well shoot it again. Actually, it's a very pretty gun design. It kind of reminds me of the Philadelphia Deringers, you know, the percussion muzzle loading derringers that they used when they shot Abraham Lincoln. It's a nice looking gun. Okay. Half cock. Open it. Like so. And I guess that's it for now. These guns have probably not been shot in a long time, and I've been making a series of videos with guns that probably haven't been shot in, some of them a century, some of them maybe 150 years, and I got several other old guns like that, and some of them are pretty rare. So if you like to look at rare guns, old guns on YouTube, and see them being fired, you might want to subscribe. And I'm, like I said, I'm a mountain man, but I also got a lot of other guns, so there will be mountain man guns also, smooth bores, different kinds. So got a lot more to show you, so please subscribe, and catch you later.